What's up in War Eagle War Report family? Your man Ike Jones here. C-Dub has the afternoon off today, but we are still here on the Weekend Tailgate. We're going to be talking a little bit about Auburn gymnastics and the new era in Auburn athletics. Do we have a place where we're getting one and done athletes at Auburn? Let's talk about it a little bit today on your Weekend Tailgate presented by University Ace Hardware. Let's get it.
You are now listening to the War Report Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by University Ace Hardware. It's your boy, Ike Jones. Be Will, C-Dub, Mike G. Get ready, sit on back as we bring you the War Report Weekend Tailgate.
Yeah.
Can you hear Ike?
I cannot. Ike, I think you knocked the cord out of something.
Oh, so Ike is having some technical difficulties. Welcome to the Weekend Tailgate presented to you by Ace Hardware. I know it's Easter. I want to thank everybody for joining us this fine Easter. B. Will joins us. Ike Jones will be right back. B, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. You know what I'm saying? Happy Risen Day to everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed the day. Still enjoying your day, whether you're fresh off of church, whether you enjoyed service from home or you didn't. Happy Easter to everybody.
Happy Easter indeed. So, again, is Ike
Yeah,
back?
I'm back.
Okay, there you go. All right. Take us through the intro.
Yeah, man. You know, we did y'all hear? Did I do the whole intro muted?
Yeah. You were
No, before the vid, you was good. After the vid, it was weird.
Say that'd have been real awkward. He's just sitting there muted, talking to nobody. Anyway, yeah, man, we about to get into this thing, man. University Ace Hardware. Yeah, we got my man Mike Jones, my man B Will up in this.
Mike
thing.
Jones.
Mike Jones.
Mike Gittens, my bad. We're gonna talk a little bit about the Auburn gymnastics team, man, and their fourth place finish, a historic finish for them. This is the highest that they've ever finished, right? Like we've never had a fourth place national
had a good
finish.
season.
So an awesome season for them. But what I really want to get into before we get into all of that are all of the things that you all need to be doing to make sure you're staying up to date with what we got going on right here with the War Report. Mike G, talk to the people about how they can become a member of this illustrious Auburn community.
We've picked up some momentum here, guys. If you follow us on Twitter, we've been talking a lot about this. The War Report has a goal. Our first goal is to get people to sign up as patron members. So become a patron. A lot of you have been messaging me on the side asking how you can do this. Go to our YouTube channel, hit that join button. If you're on an iPhone, you may not see that button. That's because Apple is they're communists and they don't want you to sign up from the app. But you can sign up from a computer and your perks will transfer. We got off-season film reviews. We've got some interview stuff that's going to be it's going to be patron only. So become a patron, join our community. Lots of great stuff for you guys headed into the season here. We are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a good cause. So help us help them. Hashtag save all the puppies. We'll go to the about section of our YouTube channel, hit the donate button. And 50 cents on every dollar you donate will go to the Lee County Humane Society to help them in their mission to save as many puppies as possible. Now, they do good work in the community. It's not only saving puppies, but it's returning lost puppies home. So humane societies play a huge role in the community. We want to help them, help us help them. We appreciate you guys for doing that. Listen, giving away a t-shirt today. Weagle, War Damn Eagle. Kick them in the butt, Big Blue. That's what all those letters stand for. Don't forget the hey at the bottom. But hey, hashtag get your weight up in the comments. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That's our guy, Walt Taylor. If you own a restaurant and you're looking for ways to operate more efficiently, Walt can help you. So GWT2 Energy Consulting Services bring you guys these giveaways every single live stream. Love Walt. Love giving stuff away. Hashtag get your weight up. We're going to pull at the 1 hour mark. So make sure you're here at the 1 hour mark, because you got to be here to win. Now, if you don't win it, you can just buy one. Head to thewarreport.com, click the little catalog button, and check out all the fly stuff we have there for you guys. Guys, we're on podcast. Every single podcast platform there is. The War Report is on. So our podcast listens are growing. We're growing. This is amazing. We're doing podcast exclusive content for you guys, as well as some rehashes of the Weekend Tailgate, minus a lot of the stuff that we're talking about right now, just so you can re-listen to those conversations easily on the move, at the gym, doing chores, cutting the lawn, whatever you're doing. We want you to be able to access the War Report podcast. So go over there, download, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review. Let them know that the War Report is where you guys want to hear more stuff. Now, we are sponsoring Prize Picks, or sponsored by Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com, use code RAPPORT to get a 100% bonus match. It's the NBA playoffs, guys. There is a ton of great stuff to do. I'm doing it. Brian's doing it. Ike is doing it. He's giving you guys tutorials on this stuff. Win some money. PrizePicks.com. This is a fun way to follow along. I don't know about you guys, but these little side kind of things make me more interested in games that I might not usually watch. It's really fun. It's even more fun when you're winning. So PrizePicks.com. Sign up with them today. Let them know that the War Report sent you.
Yes, indeed. All right, people. So we appreciate all y'all jumping in here on a Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday. War Report still going strong. Fellas, how are we feeling today? Just thinking about, we're a week away, or a week past, I should say, the spring game. So we're in the thrust of the off season for all of the major sports. Baseball, softball still going on. But gymnastics just finished up. How are we feeling about, first and foremost, our gymnastics team? Were you guys super invested in this season of gymnastics? Suni Lee bringing all of this hype and attention to Auburn gymnastics. I'll start with you, B. Will. What was your level of investment in Auburn gymnastics?
I gotta be honest with you guys. My level of investment in anything was so low because I was busy making people and making sure they got here safely. But I will say the energy is palpable. And not only online, when you get on Twitter and see all the hype about the basketball team and the gymnastics team kind of joined hands to build that hype in late last year, but also around the city, man. It's so different. And I've talked about this before, being that I live in Auburn. The energy in the city when sports teams are doing well is like tangible. Like you can feel it. You walk around downtown, you go to restaurants, man, like more people on the streets, more people are out and about. And that was something that was very visible from pretty much the beginning of basketball season. Like Suni Lee was here and we knew that she had committed and she was on campus, but her being at the meets, the amount of people lined up to go to the meets outside, that was something that was so different. It was kind of like the difference between what basketball was 20 years ago and what basketball is today. Except with Suni Lee coming, it happened overnight. But I didn't have enough time to just get into it in earnest, but I can see the effect that she's had not only on the program. I see these graphics pop up on my timeline all the time. Suni Lee, this record, the best this in the season for Auburn Gym, the best performance on this apparatus for the season in Auburn Gym. And it's like, wow, she really made a difference. We beat somebody I think that we had not beaten. I think was it LSU, at LSU or something like that. To start knocking down these milestones is going to do good work, very similar to what the basketball team is doing. It's like, did we win a national championship in gym? No, Final Four is outstanding. Final Four is outstanding in gymnastics, but this raises the profile of the program. If you've got the coach who Suni Lee chose, and we talk about this all the time, people choose coaches just as much as they choose schools. This was about her relationship with Coach Grabber. And yeah, he's still here. He's still here. He's going to be here. And that does wonders when you've got an Olympian and a champion in certain apparatus to say, hey, this is why I came here and I love this place. That's going to do work well after she's gone. That's going to do work. We have chances now to recruit better gymnastics prospects because she's here. She gave it the stamp of approval and she instantly raised the profile of the program. So I see that work being done similar to what Bruce did on the basketball front. And it's a wonderful thing to happen. Now, only if we can get that going in football.
Mike G, talk to me about gymnastics and your investment.
Listen, if you were on Twitter following any of this, the gymnastics hype was amazing. We have, thanks to Bruce Pearl, coined ourselves an everything school. And part of holding that title or keeping that mantra is about having more interest in Olympic sports. Right now, having a Olympic gold medal gymnast come to your school as a freshman, and thanks to NIL, she had the opportunity to even do that. In the past, she would not have been able to come and keep her endorsements and remain an amateur athlete. So I just think it was fun watching something that you wouldn't normally follow. If you follow certain people on Twitter, right, like they say this about our basketball fans, like, oh, nobody was an Auburn basketball fan before 2019. Now, the truth is there are a lot of people who didn't follow because when you lose, there are less interest in those sports.
Yeah, that's why
Right.
Bama play. That's why Bama fans don't follow basketball.
That's why their tickets are $3 to their basketball games. So that being said, Auburn basketball was a tough ticket this year. Gymnastics was not necessarily a tough ticket, but it was a more desirable thing this year because of the work that those young ladies did in the gym, on the mats, on the beams, on the uneven bars, on the floor. Just it was amazing to watch. So there's something about being in the Auburn family, and what was it? I forgot. Maybe it was Pat Dye that said it a while ago, where he said, Alabama fans love Alabama football, Auburn fans love Auburn. The excitement for gymnastics was about our love for Auburn, for the institution where we went, where we got an education, we made lifelong connections, and to see, because gymnastics was terrible when I was there. They were awful. And same thing, you could find their tickets on the ground next to the trash can, right next to them basketball tickets back in the day. To see a gymnasium packed out with people cheering on Suni and these other girls, it was not all about Suni, guys. There were some other girls who are really good on this squad, and they deserve just as much attention and hype for their contributions. But I mean, ultimately, I just thought this was such an exciting thing. What a great offseason storyline. We have been cheering for Auburn sports since August without a break. Now, baseball is great. And, so we've got things going on the diamond. Equestrian, they just barely missed another national title. Our tennis team is pretty good. I don't know, man. I thought gymnastics kind of embodied what, outside of your two major sports, which are all football and basketball, the excitement that's happening right now in our athletic department, and in large part thanks to our athletic director, who is doing what he can to get those guys, where they need to be in terms of raising the overall profile of the athletic department as a whole, not just football. So football, people are going to support and watch football no matter what. But we have learned throughout the years that support for the other sports is highly contingent on the success of those sports. Yeah, it is. It's just they don't get the same leeway football gets. So for them to go out there and do what they've been doing, really amazing to watch. I loved every second of it. It was fun watching. If you last thing I'll say on this is, if you watched ESPN for gymnastics, they actually had a separate channel for each rotation. So I just followed Auburn. There was a quad view where you could see vault, beam, floor, bars. Or you could just see whatever team was on that particular rotation. So it's kind of fun. We didn't have to depend on ESPN switching back to Auburn on the vault or missing half of it like they do in football all the time, right? But I could just watch Auburn all the way through. I mean, it was fun. It was a fun watch. The girls went all the way out to Texas to compete. We ultimately finished fourth. I feel like some of the judgments of the judges on some of the scores were a little harsh, but ultimately, it wasn't their best effort, but it was everything they had, I believe, and I'm really proud of them and what they did.
Yeah, it's been an interesting thing to see people kind of discover programs that they have not been traditionally following, and just kind of learning how to root for them, understand the scoring, right? Like understand just kind of what's happening with gymnastics. And I witnessed the same thing happen with basketball. Like I was just like, man, you know what? It's super clear we don't have a bunch of basketball fans at Auburn, just
Yeah.
by the way people talked about basketball. I was like, y'all didn't watch basketball before now, because
No.
you don't understand what you're looking at. But it was still fun to see the enthusiasm that people had for their team, to root for them aggressively. I'm gonna jump in here to a couple super chats here. Jazzy Joe's, thank you for the super chat. Says, "B Will, what's up, my dog? Congrats again on your new little Auburn fan."
Man, thank you, Jazzy. And Jazzy, so Jazzy talks to us via DMs on the Twitter account, right? Jazzy, I had not touched the Twitter account. I was off and on like a week. I wouldn't touch and come back. We were not ignoring you, man. I hope you got up with Ike or Mike in their DMs. I am so sorry, because Jazzy was giving us challenges a couple times over the last like month, and I completely missed them because I just wasn't touching it. But I know he got on the show and gave them to y'all anyway. So thank you for sticking with us, Jazzy. And the logo looks great on your truck, man.
Oh, it looks amazing. It looks
Speaking
amazing.
of which, Walt says here, did you guys see Suni Lee retweet Jazzy? And
I
it was
did.
about the whole situation on the truck there.
Yeah, he put a decal of her, Suni, and I mean, it was really cool. Like, again, community. That's what Auburn's family and community is about. I just think there were a lot of special moments for fans and for athletes, this spring that will continue. And hopefully, we're in a month or two, we're back here talking about baseball and their potential national championship. So it's been fun to watch.
Jazzy jumps back in here and said Suni and Auburn had that Lacey creature from Alabama pissed. Apparently Lacey is still over there in her feelings about whatever.
Listen, I just don't understand tweeting so much degrading stuff about, let me not say degrading, just diminishing the accomplishments of other athletes. Just because, listen, I hate Alabama more than I hate any other school. But I will 100% tell you, Bryce Young had a great season last year.
Right.
He was a phenomenal quarterback behind an absolutely atrocious offensive line, and he deserved every inch of that Heisman. I could say that with my chest. I could say that with a lot of conviction. But you, to me, you really, really, you bring your intelligence as a fan into question when you question things that are obvious just because that player plays for a school you don't like, and you're serious. So, like, I'll be the first one to tell you, listen, F Bryce Young, but he's good. I feel that way. I feel that way about some pro athletes. People are always just like Aaron Rodgers. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is good. Screw him though.
Why do you hate Aaron Rodgers?
We're not getting into this today, B.
Come on, man. Why not? We got time.
I can acknowledge that I dislike him and simultaneously acknowledge that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the game. And if not the best at times, based on his skill set. The things that man does on a football field are ungodly sometimes. I don't understand it. But I still dislike him. And if you can at least admit that, but she can't admit that, and that's why she got so much hate. Like, it would be like nobody would say anything, and she'd be like, Suni Lee isn't even better than this person. I'm like, okay, like, why are you making that comparison? Even like, where did that come from? I don't understand. She was just yelling out things like she had Tourette's. I didn't understand it. It was I don't know. And then run and retreat when you get attacked by the crazies that are in every fan base.
Right.
No. You called them out of their hole.
Yeah, don't start copying, please.
Yeah. So don't go run and cry that people are being mean to me and calling me names. Okay, yeah, I don't condone it, but those people exist on Twitter. Either block them, but don't try to make them representative of our fan base, because your fan base has them too. There is a Bama dude on that says some ridiculously racist stuff. He just got his account blocked. Finally, he got reported enough times, and people were Auburn memes was trolling him, and people were like, "Yo, what happened to his account?" He was saying some craziness, and I'm like, "All right, like, you're asking for it." And I'm not saying that she's this dude, but like, I don't know, she spent a good amount of energy trying to get people to believe that Suni Lee was an average athlete, a gold medal winning average athlete.
What's crazy about that is it makes so much more sense to say the other team has outstanding players, gymnasts, participants, but we beat them. like that's such a bigger star or feather in your cap to say, yeah, Nick Saban we brought this team into Jordan here, but we beat them. Not that,
Yeah.
hey, they aren't that good. No, they are that good,
And
and
we beat
we
them.
beat them.
Yeah.
That's the accomplishment, not to try to downplay how good the other team is. I don't understand that.
Yeah. Just ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, she apparently was pretty excited about the fact that Auburn finished fourth, even though that would still mean Auburn finished ahead of her school, if I'm not mistaken. If my math is correct, I think fourth place is better than what Alabama finished this season. So, you know,
we had 2 freshmen in that rotation in Suni Lee and Sophia Groth. And those girls did a phenomenal job this year. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, there are some really, really good gymnasts because they've just been doing it longer. They're more seasoned. They're more mature athletes. That's it. But for them to be as good as they were with the youth that we had in some of those rotations, it was still amazing. Like Suni's got her whole career ahead of her. She's just getting started.
Yeah.
Definitely
just getting started. Jazzy Joe jumps in here, says that was his crowning achievement to have Suni Lee retweet him. So, you know, it wasn't his crowning achievement to have us retweet him, but, you know, Suni.
It's all good. It's all good.
No, I'm just, listen, I would definitely feel you on that one for sure. Man, if you don't know, you're watching the Weekend Tailgate sponsored by University Ace Hardware. We're in here talking a little bit about this 4th place finish for Auburn Gymnastics. I'm going to pause right here and jump into a little bit about the people who make sure that we can continue to bring you this great content, our lovely sponsors. And then we'll talk a little bit after the break about Suni Lee and the talk that she might be done at Auburn and what that means for the state of Auburn athletics. But let's jump into this commercial real quick.
The War Report's Weekend Tailgate Show is brought to you by our generous sponsors. University Ace Hardware, located at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, right across the street from the Auburn Mall and next to the movie theater. For all of your hardware needs, Ace is the place. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn sports, head over to auburnsports.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Hey, listen. Become a patron member of the War Report. So we got a lot of great things going at the War Report. Become a patron, help support our content. You guys know the deal. Hit that join button on our YouTube homepage. We're partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a good cause. Help us #save all the puppies. Go to the about section, hit the donate button. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them to help them #save all the puppies. Now we're giving away a really cool t-shirt. This is a new thing. So you guys know what all these letters mean. #get your weight up in the comments. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That's our guy, Walt Taylor, best sponsor of all time, greatest man I know, superhero to those who know him, bringing you guys giveaways every single live stream. So #get your weight up. We're going to pull at the 1 hour mark. That's about 37 minutes from now. So get ready for that, please. And make sure you get your spelling up. Now, if you don't win, you can just buy it. Go to thewarreport.com and search the catalog. We got lots of fly gear as well as the t-shirt that we're giving away. So support our content by buying some merchandise and post a picture of yourself on social media wearing that stuff. That always helps. We're on podcasts, every single podcast platform. The War Report is there with podcast exclusive content. So we are growing in this arena right now. Brian is working hard to get you guys podcast content. We collaborate with Auburn Memes. Our girl Brandy Mack, that's Brandy with 3 E's and a Mac on the end on Twitter. She is our outside betting person. So Brandy and I are constantly texting about props and bets and things that we're doing on prizepicks.com. So check out the Auburn podcast, the War Report podcast. We're on every single podcast platform. Speaking of props and money, prizepicks.com, guys, use code report when you sign up to get a little free money to place some props with. I do a lot of interesting stuff. It's more than just traditional betting. We have done some segments throughout the year to help teach you guys and educate you on how to do this. This is legal in the state of Alabama. So prizepicks.com, use code report, get yourself a 100% match.
For sure. All right. So Let's talk about it here. It's been widely reported that Suni Lee is going to be taking some time away from school to focus on getting ready for the Olympics coming up. And we already know that Jabari Smith, Walker Kessler, 1-year players at Auburn have entered their name into the to the NBA draft. Have we come to the place for those that can do the early pro status and move from the amateur status that is collegiate sports? Have we come to the place in Auburn athletics where we have one and done athletes? I'm going to start with you, Mike G. Are we one and done land now?
It appears to be headed that way. Now, thank God you can't have one and dones in football. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. You cannot be one and done in football. The physical demands of that sport necessitate that you spend a few years in college developing your body and your mind to go play at the next level. Basketball, NIL has changed the game quite a bit. I do believe that we are in one and done land because we are developing athletes. So talent development at Auburn is, outside of football, is at an all-time high. And guys are coming here for an opportunity to catapult themselves into the next phase of their life, which is pro sports. How I feel, though, is I think that as NIL continues to grow and we see how it shakes out, you're going to see there may be a chance that we see fewer one and done athletes because you no longer have to run to the pros to make money. So for right now, I mean, we're early in the infancy stages of this, but think about this offseason. Some of the guys who jumped, it would have been a no-brainer for them in the past to jump. You're going.
Yeah.
There was actually some tension around whether Walker Kessler might actually leave because he could have just been a kid in college making hundreds of thousands of dollars easily. Very marketable guy.
Yeah.
And just enjoy being an athlete. Now, ultimately, you don't want to risk your long-term earning potential by getting injured. But for those guys who aren't top 5 lock picks and you're on the bubble about whether you want to go pro or not, you can earn money to help your family and come back to college another year.
Yeah.
I think NIL ultimately is going to help kids stay in college longer. I honestly believe that. I will die on that hill. I think in the long term of this, it's going to help kids stay in college longer because they can just be kids. They can drive a nice car. They can afford to take their girlfriends and boyfriends on dates. Like, it doesn't no longer will being a college athlete mean you have to be broke in your everyday life. Not poor because you'll have a roof over your head and you'll have food in your belly, but broke. College athletes are broke.
Yeah.
They are broke.
While they're college students. You're
right.
Broke.
Yeah, listen, man. How many times did I come by your place asking for ramen noodle packets? Like, you're broke. If you're a college student, you are broke and you are hungry. And those things never go away. There's never enough food, right? And there's never enough money for anything. And if you are paying your way through school and buying books and paying for tuition simultaneously, it's hard.
Yeah.
If you're not on a scholarship, it's even harder. So
I think about all of those walk-on athletes, man, that are not on scholarship but still have to do all the requirements of like going and doing all the off-season workouts and the practices and then the game day stuff, and you're not even on scholarship to do that. You just there.
Yeah, they're still filling out their FAFSA every semester trying to get financial aid. So to me, I don't know. I think that this represents something that could ultimately be positive. I do think we need to rein it in a little bit.
Not to cut you off, but just thinking about that, can walk-on athletes get NIL deals?
They absolutely can. They 100%.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. If you are on team, you can get it. Listen, Joe Blow could get an NIL deal. It's just, is there going to be an interest in it?
Right.
From the people offering the deal. But a walk-on athlete can get an NIL deal. So, Sean Jackson, he on the team, and if people know who you are now, it might not be worth very much to the person giving you that deal if you're not a known commodity.
Right.
As an athlete, your job is still to go out there and be the best athlete you can, raise your profile to ultimately feed the worth of that NIL deal. That's it. That's your job. Go out there, be the best athlete you can be, and the rest of it will take care of itself.
For sure. For sure.
So,
all right. We will jump in here for me and talk a little bit about the era of, or the beginning maybe of the era of the one and done athlete at Auburn University and what that means for Auburn athletics.
I mean, I think it's a two-pronged thing. Number one is we're getting better players now. That's number one in sports, where you only have to be 1 year removed from high school and not in not 3 years like football. So that's the best thing. We weren't getting Jabari Smiths before Bruce Pearl's last few years. We weren't getting Isaac Okoro's, so Sharif Cooper's. We're getting them, so they have that option. When you get players, and even on the gymnastics side, like we talked about with Suni, when you get participants, athletes who are that good, they have that option. But the other prong to that is now we're seeing an era of college athlete empowerment where they have choices. The transfer portal is a part of that. They have choices in the NBA. On the basketball side, it's not just, well, I have the option to go. You can go to the G League. You can skip the college experience altogether. So since you have options, they're using those options, and I'm all for them using those options because they bring way too much money to the universities that they participate in the name of, to not have the option to capitalize on it themselves. Suni Lee didn't get cash in hand for coming to Auburn, but you know what she did for Auburn? You know how much her presence here is going to boost the outlook of Auburn gymnastics going forward. I mean, what did it do for all of the people we had participating in gymnastics? All of these young ladies now get the spotlight on them in the way that they wouldn't have prior, because Suni Lee is there and they're sharing that spotlight with her. So they bring value. We know these athletes bring value. So now they have the option to not only make money off of it, NIL, but they have options to leave quicker, sooner, to different options, or to bypass. Suni didn't even have to come to college. She could have just tuned up for the next Olympics. She did us a favor by coming here. But that's the other thing is now the athletes have options. So both of those are great for us. Both of those things are great because when you have a coach where whether it's gymnastics or it's a coach like Bruce Pearl, who's going to say, hey man, look, you might go where you think you're going to go. I want you to go. I want you to get that. Now, if you don't get it, or I think Bruce, when he was talking to the last time he was talking to the press, he said Walker has a chance to go first round, and that's what him and his family wanted. So we want him to get that. Right. We're not telling you to come. Jabari was always going to go first round. He came here to get better. I don't think they had to pitch Jabari about trying to stay. They knew when they got him, you're going to go. Let us be that one stop for you. That would be doing us a favor. And they did it, man. So this is what you need. You need coaches who are developing the recruits for the recruit's sake, and the school just happens to benefit. Like, that's the mindset you have to have. That's how you have to pitch to parents. Your child is so good, they're going to go to that next level regardless. We're going to give them a better chance to thrive at that next level. And as a byproduct, we might be number one in the country this year. I mean, who knows, but thank you so graciously for letting your child come here. That's the right attitude a coach has to have. And we've got it in basketball. We've got it in gym. And I wonder how much that's you can't have it in football. So that's another thing. But there are some coaches who go, oh man, you don't need to go. Nick Saban was notorious for this. Oh, they just want to go and they don't want to develop. Hey man, you can't play all 20 of your 5-star recruits right now. So let them go if they want to go. And some of them are, and they're leaving and they're going to play other places, or they're going to the league, because just being from Bama at one point, maybe about 5 years ago, was enough to get you first 2 rounds, even if you didn't play. But that kind of started burning out too. So I think the best attitude for us, for our coaches, is we want you to be the best you can be. Come be here at Auburn to be the best you can be, and just have fun. And when those players leave, I think the best sign of that is, how does Isaac Okoro talk about Auburn? How does Sharif Cooper talk about Auburn? How does Jabari Smith talk about Auburn? How does Suni Lee talk about Auburn? They say they love it. They didn't come here and have to say, well, you need to get us here and please stay and maybe we'll pay you some. No, none of that. You can get some NIL. No, none of that. Thank you so much for your service. We're glad you had a good time. War Eagle.
Yeah. I mean, so we say that it can't necessarily happen in football, but I do point to situations like Cam Newton, right? As a 1-year impact athlete
Fair enough.
on the football program. So there is a possibility that if we are using the transfer portal properly, this is what Dreshun Miller said he wanted to have happen when he came to Auburn, right? He wanted to come show out in the SEC for a year. Tony Fair wanted to come show out in the SEC for a year to boost their status, come make an impact for a season, and then go to the NFL. There is a possibility for that to happen in football. We've just got to build the right kind of program where the athletes who are on the precipice and just have one more year of eligibility wants Auburn to be the place where they show that. So my question about that is, do you think that Auburn can become that place routinely for the one-hit wonder football player, right? The guy who wants to come and just show out for one season and then go to the league, a la Cam Newton. I'll start with you on that one, B. Will.
Can we be that place in football? I'll say this, with the culture that we're building, and I'll kind of cross-reference this with basketball. Bruce said he wants always to still get the guys who are 2, 3, 4-year guys. And it's a culture thing. It's an attitude thing. It's how hard they're willing to work. He wants those guys to fill in the gaps between the Jabaris that they want to get here and there, the Walker Kessler that they want to get. Yeah, you want the person with the high ceiling that can put you over the top, but he wants the foundation of the team to be a grinded out attitude, and those guys aren't necessarily going to always be 1-year guys. So he wants to have a very mature, scrappy team with a couple of just excellent pieces to put us over the top. In football, I think Coach Harsin, what he wants to do as far as culture, we're going to be that grit, grinded out, beat you into the dirt, physical. It's not going to be, hey, man, we know that you're the best quarterback in the country over the last 5 years. Please come here and we promise you this and we promise you that. No, that's not what he wants to do. You're like, hey, here's the culture. Here's the standard. I'm not promising you anything, Sir Nix, so you can go to Oregon. No promises being made. You're going to come in here and work. And if you're the best dude, you're going to get on the field.
Right.
The type of player that is different from the type of player who goes, I just want 1 or 2 years to maximize my money and get up out of here. Like, if that's what you want to do in football here, I don't think you'd be attracted to that.
Right.
Fortunately for us, there are enough football players to go around who actually like the idea of coming, developing, improving, and buy into that mindset of continued growth and competition off season, in season, and maximize my potential for the next level. And that is going to be Brian Harsin's best sell. And he has to do that. That's the thing that I think he has to do in the first few years. You don't have to beat Georgia and Bama in year 3. You don't have to bring down the number 2 recruiting class in the first 4 years. What you have to do is these people who you are bringing in now, who chose Auburn from the transfer portal or as freshmen, and stuck around through the rough offseason that we've had, you got to start putting those guys in the league. Even if we don't have a super successful campaign in the SEC, you've got to go, you know what? Every time he gets a guy, those tight ends are going top 2 rounds. Huh. So now the next tight end that actually is a Bowers at Georgia, now he chooses Auburn because he sees what you've done with tight ends. Or the same thing if we can get that going with some defensive linemen, some offensive linemen, or some wide receivers who came in unheralded. Like, I think that's probably the best chance we have to do that. Wide receiver, we haven't had stellar wide receiver play at Auburn since the Tuberville era. Just hands down, I can count on these guys to always get it. We talk about all the time what the 2010 team.
I would say Darvin Adams and Terrell Zachary were.
That's why I brought up. But again, those weren't the high flying, all world. They were so consistent, but that was a product of the system that they had been in from Tuberville transition to Chiswick, because we know who the strength and conditioning coach was at that time, and the attitude about what you do on the football field, whether you're getting passes or not, you block, son. And they were bought into that, and it paid dividends because anytime they got thrown the ball, they caught it. We haven't been that sure-handed and that consistent at wide receiver in so long. And I think now is the first time in a long time that position has the biggest chance to trend up because, number one, we went and got an NFL wide receiver coach.
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Now we know that we're running a pro style system where they're going to learn routes and use routes and terminology that prepares them for the next level. So once he starts putting any position that had traditionally not done well here, or at least not traditionally over the last several years, you put that position in the league, then you're going to start turning some heads. Then you're going to be looked at positively by some people who wouldn't have come here otherwise. And maybe then you've got a chance at a couple of players who go, man, I don't know, I wouldn't have chose Auburn. And I got a lot of prospects, but maybe I can come there. Maybe I can come there and get developed, and we can create a situation similar to what Bruce Pearl has done on the basketball side. But I think you have to show well first. We don't get Jabari Smith unless Isaac Okoro and Chuma Okeke get drafted. Like, I seriously believe that you have to show that you can do it with those players first. Then the next guy who you know is one and done, he's eyeing you a little bit harder.
Right. Right.
So Mike G, jump in here. Is Coach Harsin going to be the future? Going to have a future with the 1-year rentals? Do you think that that's in his DNA?
I think this year is a good audition for that. You got the number 1 JUCO corner, number 1 JUCO safety, and the number 1 overall JUCO player. How quickly do these guys become household names? They chose Auburn. They should come in more physically and mentally mature than an athlete fresh out of high school. And TBD, talent evaluation is not an exact science. It's one of the hardest things that anybody has to do in sports, is project how a guy will perform at the next level from high school to college, and then from college to the pros. And whether he becomes that sort of destination will depend on, like, kind of be highlighted, how the guys who make the decision to come to you fare with their opportunities at the next level, or if they even get the opportunity. There are things that get said about guys coming out of Alabama system and Ohio State system at certain positions where they just know if you made it out of there and the coaches have good things to say about you, you were well coached.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about providing opportunities, encouraging competition. I think that's happening. I do think that we're moving towards that, and I'll cover this a little deeper in my what did we see, but like, it just feels like nothing is being given, everything's being earned right now. And for the guys who are earning it, they will have those opportunities to come in for a year, earn it, and then move on to whatever their next opportunity is. So the 1-year rentals, I'm all about it at certain positions. Preferably not at quarterback. If you're getting a 1-year rental at quarterback, it's because some act of God has landed you with a generational talent that otherwise would not have been available.
Right.
That's it. You don't want to see that at quarterback. You want the system that you've developed at quarterback to produce those quarterbacks. In other positions, though, I think it's a little bit more acceptable because they're not the face of your team. They're not running your team.
That's
like
true.
The quarterback is. So, you get a 1-year rental at wide receiver or, on defense at linebacker or something. That guy comes in, helps you to divisional title or conference title, and that's okay. So I do think we can become a spot for that, certainly. But this year will go a long way into proving how close we are to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Rick Cazenave, appreciate the you jumping in here and just talking with us here. Said he was a walk-on before there were hour limits. Football was full-time, 40 hours time investment, and you still had to feed yourself and go to class very hard on your grades to walk on.
I'm telling you, listen, I was there in that era. We were all there in that era. But I remember what two-a-days was like before there were hours restrictions. Guys were literally dying on the practice field at schools. And then they started limiting that stuff because some coaches were going overboard. They had this drill. I always ask King about this. They had this drill that they had where it was just O-line versus D-line. It was like a trench battle.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback wasn't allowed to be hit, and the running back would get handed the ball, and it was just smash mouth football. The whole team would line up around the offensive defensive lines, and a fight would break out 100% of the time that they did this drill at the end of two-a-days. And you're dog dead tired. There are no hours restrictions. You're probably dehydrated. They had the nutritionist at the time. Well, I don't know if we had a nutritionist, but we had to eat. Everybody who had to be out in that sun for hours had to eat. Everybody down to the camera guys. They were like, go to Sewell Hall, get yourself a good meal. We're going to be out here for hours. They had Gatorades flying around everywhere. And these guys would just go at it. And when you're at an emotional breaking point because you are tired and the guy across from you is trying to literally whoop your ass and embarrass you in front of everybody, tempers would flare and then fights would break out. They can no longer do that. So we're producing a different type of football player now. And the guys who have that dog, like that process used to create the dog in some of these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can no longer, you have to find new ways to create that if a guy doesn't already have that in him.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, man, if you had seen some of what we used to see, and not just at Auburn, everywhere, we were producing a tougher, a type athlete back then. And man,
whew.
So
it don't take him no time, man. He
what did
started
I
talking
say?
about football.
What did I say? Did I get cursed?
Like somebody line up across from you, try to whoop your ass.
Ass is not a cuss word.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's not getting bleeped out on anything these days, but whatever.
Rick Cazenave jumps back in here with another chat. Says if you don't have a top flight QB, having top flight wide receivers is a bit tough. The QB has to put them into position to make plays. Absolutely agree with that, Rick.
That's true.
Listen, wide receivers are by most people's accounts, and this is not me just taking a ding at wide receivers, diva athletes, right? Like they want the ball. If you're not getting them the ball or you're throwing in their direction, but it's not catchable or you're hanging them out to dry all the time, no, nobody wants to come play there. They don't want to come play in a system where you're going to run the ball 40 times a game, right? Like that's just not a thing for the modern athlete who's at wide receiver, who is a generational type. There are so few Calvin Johnsons left in the world who will go to a school like Georgia Tech, but be
Why
Calvin
does he
Johnson.
do that?
Yeah,
why would he?
I've never heard him talk about his decision to go to Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
but
they're an enengineering school.
Yeah, man, like,
they're an engineering school.
I have no idea why he decided to go to Georgia Tech. Because again, think about this. This is Calvin Johnson, one of the most ethereal wide receiver talents we've seen in the NFL in the last 20 years. Like he's from a physical, like wide receiver skill standpoint, might be one of the best people to ever put cleats on and play the wide receiver position. And he went to Georgia Tech, who was running triple option football.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, so I have no idea why, but again, it's just you don't see that type of thing happen a lot. Before we jump over into the last segment today, Jazzy Joe with this big time super chat said he had to get it weighed up. Saw where homeboy was in the chat and he's been killing these super chats. I need to get my weight up. Hey man, we appreciate that.
That's the kind of competition that we encourage here at the War Report. Get in the trenches and duke it out in dollars.
Yeah. Speaking of Jazzy getting his weight up. Speaking of which, y'all know what time it is, right?
Yeah. Welcome to another Jazzy Challenge.
We are here with another Jazzy Challenge. Jazzy Joe says, lame location challenge. Where am I for $100? For a $100 super chat, one of us has to guess the correct location of Jazzy Joe. If y'all don't know, if you're new to the Jazzy Challenges, he is a trucker. So he's picking up and taking stuff all over the country. And so randomly, Jazzy will ask us to guess what part of the country he is in. If one of the, four of us, if it's all four, but if one of us who is on the show guesses the correct state, Jazzy will super chat us $100 for this.
Texas. He's in Texas.
Missouri.
Mike says Texas. B. Will says Missouri. And I am going to go with Georgia.
Okay.
So Jazzy, tell us where you are, and we'll see if we got it right. I mean, if we don't, we still appreciate all of what you're doing for us. All right. So it's about that time elsewhere for us to kind of get in here and give some stuff away. We're about 10 minutes away from that giveaway. If you don't know what you're getting yourself into, you need to be dropping right now in the comments, hashtag get your weight up, because we are giving away one of these lovely new shirts that we have in the merch store. Weagle, Weagle, War Damn Eagle, kick him in the butt, Big Blue. Hey, we have those available now in the merch store. You can drop hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We will be drawing in 10 minutes for this lovely shirt. But let's continue down the track of talking about what we have going on here. Last words on the state of Auburn athletics, and specifically in how we have cultivated this space to be the one and done possibly in the future. We talked a lot about whether or not the football program can be in a place where that's going to begin to happen. What are the things that you think need to happen this year for high profile?
Arizona again.
He was in Arizona again.
Yeah.
Jazzy Joe says he was in Arizona.
I almost said Arizona, but I was like, there's no way he's still there.
Oh, well, but what are the things that you need to see this year from Auburn football to get us? Actually, you know what? Before we do that, before we talk a little bit more about football, I need to drop something on y'all that you may or may not have seen. But our guy Mike G put together a dope video. I'll just let y'all see the video. We'll talk about the video and we'll talk about that and kind of translate that into what we need to see from the football season. But let's just take a peek at some of the work from our guy Mike G real quick.
Exactly the reason why you want to play for Auburn University and exactly why you want to come to a place like this. Through this football program, we will win, but we will do it the right way, and we will have guys here that truly enjoy the journey while they're with us. Because it's going to be challenging, it's going to be hard, it's going to be all those things you talk about, you read about, you see. That's not going to change. It takes tremendous discipline, it takes tremendous toughness, and it takes tremendous conviction. So you better be the ultimate competitor, you better have that mindset, and you better be a guy that embraces that and loves it. We can win championships, and we can have a 4th and 1 mentality every single day because there are no days off.
Hey, no days off. You said there are no days off. You know, what's interesting was I was going through Harsin talking to find quotes. He actually says an incredible amount of epic stuff. That, you know, I'm pulling quotes. And, you know, I could see why the team would rally behind this, why they are rallying behind this coach. I was getting jacked up just listening to some of the stuff that he was saying. I was like, God, look, there's a lot of material here to work with. But when you hear him talk to the team, he is a really, really good motivational speaker. He's a very good motivator. And, having a coach that's a good motivator makes putting these types of things together very easy. So when you're looking for the clips, you see how the guys are engaged. They've got attitude, they've got swagger, they've got motivation. And it makes me very, very optimistic for this upcoming season within reason. But I don't think that effort is going to be our issue in the fall. Man, these guys are going to give this coach 300% every single week, every practice, every game. And I can't wait to see what it produces this fall. It's not always going to translate to wins, but there's something about a team that just doesn't quit. And that's what this spring was about. So when I was putting this together, it was about, hey, what embodies the true attitude and mentality of this team? And it's just that, man. It's that work hard, work hard. And after you're done working hard, work hard some more. Because winning doesn't owe you anything, right? Why chase winning? I'm putting this together. I'm asking myself, why chase winning? Winning is fickle. Sometimes you put forth your best effort and you still don't win.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's guaranteed is that if you don't chase winning, you're going to lose. You're a loser. So this team is going to chase winning. And I can't wait to see what it looks like in the fall. It's going to be incredible. Winning doesn't care that you're sore. Winning doesn't care that you're tired. Winning doesn't care that you didn't get the call. But I'll be damned if this team doesn't make winning believe that we're there in the fall. That's what a good hype video, right? Like, should make you feel that way about your team. This team is going to chase winning at all costs. They're going to do it the right way, but they're going to be right there. Woo! I'm ready for the fall, guys. It ain't here. What do we got? We got like 130 days or something.
We got 4 months, man.
Let's go.
Hopefully, the team is fired up, but just wanted to dovetail back into that conversation with seeing the effort that, we had in this video about the question I was asking is, what do we need to see from this upcoming season from this team to get us to a place where the stellar, there were a lot of people just kind of going back to a lot of conversations that happened with Caleb Williams, right, and his transfer destination of why would Caleb Williams even want to come to Auburn outside of the ridiculous NIL asks that he was having, right? Like, why would a guy who could literally have his pick of any school in the country go and play for Auburn University at quarterback? What have we shown that would make him want to come here? Like, same thing for any of these other high profile offensive players outside of the running back position, or even offensive linemen, right? Like a lot of the big name offensive linemen in the portal, they weren't giving Auburn a serious look. What things do we need to show in this season to get to a place where a guy on the offensive side of the ball says, I've got 1 year to make it happen? Auburn's the place I'm going to go do that. What do we need to see happen this season? I'll start with you, B.
We've got to get the guys drafted. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, we wouldn't see it between September and December. We'd see it the following May. We'd hear about it when they started putting out mock drafts and they had guys who were unheard of from Auburn going first and second round. That's what will do it. There are teams that never win their conference. Like, you think about Iowa. All right. If I'm a tight end, did George Kittle go to Iowa?
Yes.
Okay. So George Kittle, who's probably actually an android, plays football and throws grown men around all the time. And he's one of the most pivotal tight ends for the offense that he plays in across the entire NFL. And he went to Iowa. And Iowa has a continual habit of churning out these players because they're stuck in 1980s football. But there are players and prospects who actually like that type of football. They want to be brought up in that football. They want to be maximize their potential in that type of football. And they're going to go to the league and dominate, or at least be very productive. It doesn't matter that Iowa doesn't win anything. Iowa doesn't win anything, and they are terrible to watch. Nobody wants to see them. You're not going to win. You're not going to go to the playoff at Iowa. But you know what you are going to do? You're going to go to the league prepared to play the type of football that the NFL wants you to play. And that is enough to get very good tight end prospects to go to Iowa and offensive line prospects. That is what we have to do. That's how you step around. Oh, well, you're gonna come here and win for championships. If you can't sell that, get me to the league.
Right.
Get me to the league. Okay, I'm not gonna get rings. I'm not gonna get my face all over everything. I'm not gonna be a Heisman candidate. But can you get me to the league? Because a 10-year NFL career is worth infinitely more than 2 Final Four appearances in football. It just is. And that's what it is. So that's your workaround. We've got to get guys who are here who were unheralded or unmentioned when it came to mock drafts. By the end of the season, they have played their way, and we have developed them into draft picks. Yeah, it doesn't have to start with first-round draft picks. You know what? Get guys who were unheard of, get them in the 6th round. Get them going in the 5th round. And after that, make sure their names are sticking, and they're sticking past that first contract. Now, it looks like then I have prepared, as Coach Harsin. Coach Harsin has prepared guys to be productive for long-term in the NFL. That is the best thing you can do. And we won't get those long-term results here this year, but get some names mentioned in the draft and get them drafted. That's how you get players going, all right, I'll come here for you and give it a shot because you're going to get me to the league. Let's go.
All right. So, Mike, is that, do you agree with B. Will, number one? And is that enough for Auburn fans? We've got a lot of players going to the NFL, so Carson's doing a good job of developing our program.
Yeah, I think that you cannot have guys going to the NFL and not point back to the development of our football team, particularly in our league. So if you've got guys, I mean, I don't know. Is there an example of a team in the SEC consistently putting guys in the NFL but losing?
Kentucky. They have great offensive line talent. They actually are known for developing offensive linemen.
But they're not losing.
They're not losing, but they're not winning anything.
They're kind of on the upswing. I mean, they're not a losing
program. That's my point. Is that can you be Kentucky at Auburn?
Yeah,
and people be okay with that.
You can this year.
Yeah.
You could be 9-3 or 8-4.
Year 4-5 of Brian Harsin, is he going to continue to be able to be a Kentucky type of program?
No. You need to have an SEC West title at the very least by that time.
Right.
You need to have an SEC championship game appearance at the very least. And even that might not be it, depending on how the other years went. But you need to show steady improvement that culminates in your consistently competing for that West title. And you need to be giving Bama a run for their money. You need to start beating your rivals. So, like, again, if we're putting guys in the NFL, to me, that is because we have not been, let's be clear, we have not been putting guys in the NFL at a high rate.
Right.
No, we haven't. Not comparatively speaking to the talent that we were bringing in based on how they were rated.
Right.
The least amount of NFL prospects for a team bringing in average top 10 recruiting classes since 2013. Insane amount of underdevelopment going on. So if you are now bringing in talent and you are developing that talent and they're making it to the next level, I don't think that we would continue to be in that mid kind of range. You know, if you've got that kind of talent, the only reason you're not winning is because coaching is holding them back. So let's say maybe you're developing the guys, but the on-the-field decisions aren't great. Mm-hmm. Kind of how B talks about, like, hey, Saban's great at getting the players and coaching them up, but as far as X's and O's are concerned, right? Maybe a little mid there. It just doesn't matter because he overcompensates in one area. So they can overcome his lack of on-the-field prowess because the talent is so good. Right. They're so good at everything else. That's essentially where we can be, I think, is that, get the guys. And it's not about stars. It's not about stars because even the guys putting those stars on those players miss a lot of times. How many 5-star players never turn out to be anything?
Right.
If you're Alabama, you're not going after a guy just because he's a 5-star player. Your staff is still doing their own evaluation of that player's talent and deciding whether the original evaluation of him as a 5-star was correct and whether he's a good fit for your team.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is you can develop talent, and you can put guys in the NFL, and that should attract more talent. You start to build a good name in the pro ranks as well too. And that stuff gets around, man. These parents, in talking to them, they're connected.
Yeah.
They know guys at the pro level. They're hearing, they're getting recommendations from people about whether a program is a good fit for their kid or not. We just need to develop a reputation for what B is talking about. If we can, I do think it will be enough, because I think that will equal more wins. More wins versus Georgia and LSU and Alabama, and hopefully an SEC title. So I agree with B. I think that if we do all that, how can it not? I mean, it would just be really unlucky if it did not culminate to
some level of success on the field.
Yeah, it just has to, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure there are a ton of examples of guys putting legit pro prospects in the league, but not, finding any kind of success.
Well, we will definitely see if Auburn football gives us something to root for. And while you're rooting for them, you need to make sure that you are hitting us up to get some merch to go out there to these games and tailgates and watch parties or whatever. You can win one today. Get your weight up is the hashtag in the comments. Weagle, War Damn Eagle, kick them in the butt, Big Blue. Hey, if you have not already put your hashtag in the comments, I feel bad for you, because I am about to draw right now amongst these 45 people and see who it is that's going to win the t-shirt today. Let's get it. Who will be the lucky winner? Brought to us by our friend, Walt Taylor, GWT2 Energy Consulting Services, Austin Holland. What's up?
Has Austin won before?
It feels
like
like
I've seen
I've
that name
said
come
that
up.
name
Yeah.
before.
It feels like
I've said that name before. Austin, let us know in the comments if you are here, number one, but number two, if you've won already and you want to just toss it back to somebody else. It's not the same shirt, so maybe you just win a second shirt. I don't know. It's up to you. I'm gonna, we use the honor system here at the War Report. We're not using spreadsheets if Chase is here to figure out whether people are gonna get their stuff. So anyway, let's continue with what we got going on for things outside of maybe the normative things of Auburn athletics. We're going to get into everybody's favorite segments, and that is, if I can find it.
What did we see?
For the uninitiated, what did we see is just our opportunity to talk about things that may not be within the purview of our normal Auburn athletics conversation. It can be things related to Auburn athletics, but just not the major sports, or it can be things around the rest of the sporting world that we want to talk about. So who wants to go first here on what did we see today?
I'll go first here.
Yeah.
We've had a week to digest A-Day, and there were a lot of differing opinions on what we saw. But it has occurred to me that the Auburn quarterback competition is an actual competition. 100%. These guys are competing. They are I can't say there's a clear front runner. I don't know that there's a clear front runner for the job. I know that what my gut tells me, but I don't trust it. And I think that that's a good thing in this particular situation, because we have three guys who have a chance to start, who all bring unique skill sets, I think, to the position, and they can all affect the position positively in their own way.
True.
So, very unscientific note, but I chopped up all the throws from every QB. and then we posted them to the channel. The QB's video who got the most views was Robbie Ashford.
By a landslide. It wasn't even
It
close.
was not even close. And I thought to myself, I'm like, it seemed like the QB who did the most for himself on A-Day in terms of public perception, because remember, who wins the starting job will be based on a whole body of work and not just what we saw during A-Day.
Right.
So making any assumptions about any of these quarterbacks from A-Day is a fool's errand. I would caution everybody against doing that.
There's a lot of people doing it, but
yeah, like saying, "Oh, Holden looked the best out of the three." Well, yeah, okay, cool, right? And I like Holden. I thought he did a lot of good things on A-Day, and I think he is our future. I think that type of quarterback is our future. Yeah. But that being said, I think there's exactly zero chance that he plays any this fall.
Right.
Yeah, not absent of like crazy injury stuff hitting.
Yeah, not with a coach on the hot seat and two guys who actually have real game experience. He just would have to be so heads and tails ahead of the other guys to justify starting him. And I'm not sure that he's there. I didn't see that on A-Day. Then you have Robbie Ashford, who made the decision to come down here from Oregon. And he is a quarterback. He is an athlete. And I was told that he has even more in the tank than what we saw on A-Day. He really is. He does. And, from an athletic perspective. But he wants to be a quarterback. He wants people to see him as a quarterback. And I thought, went out there 12 for 16. Wasn't a perfect day for him, but he definitely showed what his potential is and that he's firmly in this race.
Yeah.
And then there's Zach Calzada, who has been throwing this spring, but we didn't see during A-Day. TJ Finley, same thing. I thought he showed improved touch on his deep balls. He threw 3 deep balls and when I say deep balls, I mean any pass 15 yards or more downfield, just for everybody who's wondering how I'm defining it. And one was caught by Shedrick. The other was dropped by Dawson. And the other one that should have been caught was thrown to Tank. And he, for whatever reason, he couldn't track it, but it was a good ball.
Yeah, it was.
I think a wide receiver would have caught that ball. And then he had the inexcusable throw over the middle that almost got picked.
Yeah.
You absolutely just can't. Yeah, it should have been picked. You just can't do that. I think he's got to get that out of his system. But I'm looking at the totality of everything, and I'm just saying, I don't know who the starter is in the fall. I don't. And I think that's a good thing. I think the coaches know who's actually ahead because they've seen the whole body of work, and we've just seen this very small sample size. So they're competing. I feel like in talking to the guys who are in the race, I feel like they feel like it's a competition.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. They all feel like they have a shot, and that's a good place to be. So somebody's going to win it. Ultimately, I think it's not the same leash if everybody wins it. I think if you go with Robbie to start, for example, he's on a longer leash
right
than TJ would be.
Mm-hmm.
Those two are not the same. If TJ wins the job, based on the things that he has and hasn't done up until now, he might be on the shortest leash of any of these quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not playing, at a high level through the first 2 games. And, I don't know. This feels like different from past years. It really does. This feels like a year where we have a chance. And even if the starter, the initial starter doesn't play well, the guy coming up behind him was really just that close, but brings a different enough skill set that we could see dramatically different results with a new quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, I'll end this by saying that the reason why I chose this is that Malik Willis did an interview with ESPN yesterday, or they aired it yesterday, and they asked him what happened at Auburn, and his response made me cry. I died on the inside. He was like, "Man, it was trash. It was the situation was trash." I'm paraphrasing, and I wasn't playing. I didn't know what was going on. I've never felt so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes. I don't want any kid to come here and feel like that again. And to see him going, being talked about as a top 10 pick, and knowing that guy lost the job to a dude that may not even win the job at his new school.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks, man. And this is what I talk about when I talk about talent eval. The coaches at the time looked at Malik and thought that he projected not as the starter. And I don't care what you say about his attitude at the time. That's a miss.
Yeah.
All that stuff about him not taking the job, all that goes back to coaching to me.
Right.
I mean, I think a lot of that has to do with him not feeling like he was going to get a legitimate shot anyway. So he's like, why am I putting in all this effort?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, again, that's a flaw on his part, but that's also a way that you have to make sure that you're engaging every guy on your roster, not just the starter.
Yeah, your culture, but your culture produces that attitude to some extent as well, too.
Yes.
The internal culture where there is not real competition going on, where guys have been preordained for a role. And even if it's not being spoken out loud, I'm telling you, it's being felt by the players.
Right.
We've talked to enough players to know when they feel that way and why they've chosen to bowl. That's not that they're running from competition. What they're doing is they're running from a no-win situation. A lot of them are. So when you come to Auburn, transferring here cannot be a no-win situation for you at any position. If they tell you you should have a shot, you should have a shot if you do all the things.
Right.
That's it. It's just tougher at quarterback because at other positions you can rotate multiple guys through.
Right.
At quarterback, you can't be out there rotating multiple guys. I mean, some coaches do it, not winning coaches, but it's tough. So I'm happy that we have a competition this spring, and I am ready to get behind whoever wins the job.
Yeah.
Right.
And hopefully everybody else is. I am kind of frustrated at all of the I'm not going to watch Auburn this year if TJ's the starter commentary that's happening.
That's such a trash attitude. I'm sorry. Like, listen, everybody on this watching this knows I was not a Bo Nix fan.
Right.
Not one time did I ever say I'm not going to watch because Bo's going to be the quarterback.
Right.
You weren't a Bo Nix fan?
No, I mean, listen, that's even a little strong, right? It's not that I wasn't rooting for Bo.
Yeah, I know.
I just felt like we had seen after 2.5 years, we had seen enough.
We've seen enough after 2. That was it. Yeah, I'm with you.
That's it. 2.5. That's it. But never once was I ever, I'm not going to watch because this guy got the job. That's such a trash attitude, man. Every game he played, I was in there. Come on, good Bo.
Right.
Every single game.
And it's as frustrating as it is. I understand the sentiment of, man, it's going to be frustrating to watch this kid play if he continues to play like he had been previously. I don't know if I can stand watching that. Get that 100%. I just don't like people making that evaluation in April, that there's no possible way TJ Finley can lead us to wins. We're going to be a 4-win team next year if he's the quarterback. I refuse to watch that. I just don't know why you make that evaluation in April.
Yeah, and to be clear, I have no issue with the people who feel like he's not the guy.
Right, that's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation. If you feel like, hey, I think we should go another direction, that's just as fair as me feeling like, hey, Malik should have got a chance over Bo or whatever. Everybody has that, right? Ultimately, hindsight is the only thing that tells us whether we were right or we were wrong. But I do have a problem with people going as far as saying a kid will never be.
Right.
Because that wasn't even my attitude about Bo. Not that he will never be, just that the experiment here had ended. He might be the dude at Oregon. This might be the year that it all clicks for him in a new system under new coaches, whatever it is. But the totality of things that had happened at Auburn, it was just clear to me that it was not going to be here. Right. So instead of us just sitting around hoping that every year is going to be the year, you move on and you give somebody else a chance. Right. Yeah. So, I don't feel like there's an equivalence between that and the guys that we have now. And he got on our roster now. I'm glad that Demetrius Davis moved on before he became that guy. You spent a year here in this system. It didn't work out. The reason it didn't work out, I hope he realizes that sooner rather than later, so it does not hold him back at his next opportunity. Because it is a sad place to wake up and find out that you have been the problem the entire time.
Right.
And you could have fixed it. And I was a big Demetrius Davis guy. But I
want to see him.
I would sit here in front of you and I will tell you the reason Demetrius Davis is not here is primarily because of Demetrius Davis. You know, and I have no issue just saying that, you know, hey, listen, you know, I think I don't feel like I was wrong about his talent ceiling. But the other things, the intangibles that are harder to project, attitude, and that you assume are there because those guys got recruited, character. And that's not to say that he had bad character. I think he was an immature kid, not ready for the spotlight.
Yeah.
And I think his social media confirmed that. So now I think we've got, you know, 4 guys in here who seem a little bit more ready for the spotlight. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely see who ultimately takes the starting job for the season, right? Like day 1 starter may not be the guy who starts at the end of the year. And that might be an interesting factor, not question, as we come into the fall, but we'll see as that develops. All right, let's continue down this path of what did we see. And B. Will, talk to us about a little something that you saw that's been going on in the world of sports.
You know, I missed the close to signing day. I think it was a couple weeks ago. Texas A&M got another recruit in this class, and it was added on to the best class ever to make it the super duper best class ever. And you know, everybody said, "Oh, well, Jimbo's he's got to be on the clock now. You know, we need to see a championship in Texas A&M by the end of 2025." Man, y'all know what? Jimbo been on the clock. He's making more money than every coach except for what? 1, 2? Let me tell y'all something about Jimbo Fisher, man. The best class ever does not mean, oh, now we can actually expect you to win something. Okay. Let me get this straight. How many times has he won the SEC West in 2018, 19, 20, 21? So 4 years now. How many times has he won the SEC West? None.
I'm going to go with 0. Yeah.
Okay. So even to very limited success as in their entire tenures, but both Gene Chizik and Gus Malzahn at least won the division in 4 years, right? Okay. So that's that. I did some mathing over here, you know, so I looked up the Texas A&M, their recruiting classes coming into this year. So 2018 was the changeover. That was his first recruiting class. It was short, and he was number 18 nationally at Texas A&M. 19, number 4. 2020, number 6. 2021, number 8. 2022, number 1, but by a landslide. Somehow we managed to win the SEC West twice in 5 years under Gus Malzahn, starting with number 2013, the number 10, 6, 8, 9, and 9 classes. We managed to win the division twice with 2 victories over the stalwart Alabama Crimson Tide, right? Why is the clock just now on for Jimbo Fisher, a national championship winning coach, a coach worth double-digit $1 million per year, but now that he has outpurchased the best class and outpurchased Alabama for the best class, recruiting class in college history, now he's on the clock? What are y'all talking about, man? What? Why does anybody think his man is a good coach? That's number 1. Number 2, why are you just now starting to set the expectations in line with what has been done here with far less for far longer? I would expect Jimbo Fisher to have won the division in his first 4 years, because I can say your first class got on the field, and your next class, which would be a better class by means of you being there and recruiting, is now a junior class. By that point, you are who you are, buddy. Your class this is what it is. Your culture is set. That's something that we've had a problem with. Our culture was, we know, 40% buy-in from the people that were here, and now you had this turmoil to kind of upset things even more. But we get to see what our culture and recruiting is going to be like going forward. Jimbo, you haven't had to battle with anybody. Your administration you haven't been fighting the SEC West opponents and your administration. They wrote you a blank check and got out your way. What's the hold up, buddy? What are you doing? You got better talent than Alabama for once. And you know what? Granted, I hate to do it, but I got to give Nick Saban credit. They lost the recruiting national championship a couple of years to once or twice to Ohio State, once or twice to Georgia, and they still were in the Final Four or winning a championship every year. What has you? Jimbo Fisher should be at least winning the division last year. Quarterback trouble, injuries, sure. Doesn't everybody have that? Stetson Bennett was the quarterback at Georgia. Stetson Bennett was the quarterback at Georgia. A JUCO walk-on was the quarterback at Georgia, and they won it. So I'm not going to give Jimbo a pass for not having his chosen quarterback to start. Why? You're getting defensive linemen that are 5 stars, just like you're getting offensive linemen that are 5 stars. You're getting the talent on both sides of the ball, and not just this past year when you had the #1 rating. You always had the talent because Texas A&M always had deep pockets, and even before NIL was legal, y'all were still getting recruits there. What are you talking about, man? Jimbo Fisher, if he doesn't win a championship this year, no, I don't want to say that.
I was going to say, that's a little harsh.
No, because I want to go worse. He's a bum anyway, no matter what. Why aren't you winning? We would have been dying to get some of these classes that Jimbo Fisher and them have gotten at Texas A&M. They're putting offensive linemen in the league every year. So they are a chosen spot, destination, kind of like Oklahoma was, for offensive linemen. We have been starving at offensive linemen, which is why our offenses have been so inconsistent for the last half a decade. So we get why that's not happening. What's your excuse, buddy? You're a QB whisperer. You got the offensive lineman there. You didn't have him at Florida State. Got your quarterback damn near killed. But now here you are at Texas A&M. Hey, we got good offensive linemen. Why aren't y'all good enough? What's going on? You got money. The players got money. Everybody got money. You got all the talent, but you ain't won nothing. Won nothing. I'll be so glad when this dude doesn't win a championship in the next 4 years. And then I'm going to play these clips back of me trashing Jimbo from 2020 forward. So overrated, man. I don't know how anybody can be continually employed being so mediocre. It's astounding.
You still have a debt to pay from Bama, Texas A&M last year.
Y'all didn't give me my shirt.
I
said,
forgot about it.
Shirt.
I have not forgot about it. Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming.
And wait, though. Along with that, before the season last year, I remember this. I said Jimbo goes 8-4. I called 8-4, and he did it. He lost to that awful LSU team last year at the end of the season. Why is this man so heralded? He is a bum. He is a used car salesman. He is a charlatan. He is a jester. I want him to fail.
Offensive line graduated though.
Everybody. No, they had people who had played, they just didn't play as starters. The starting offensive line graduated.
Yeah, I mean, still.
And they have been recruiting let me go over these classes again, Mike. 2019, number 4, 2020, number 6, 2021, number 8. If we're going to put the talent that you get, he is the person orchestrating that, especially by his second year recruiting. He's still getting talent. You know what? I'll do one better. The next time we have a What Did We See, I'm going to look at the offensive line talent specifically that they recruited in those years coming into last year and cross-reference that with our offensive line talent.
Okay. All right.
And then we can look at whether or not it's fair to judge him by one unit graduating a certain number of players. Listen, man, the game is the game.
Yeah, listen, last year, all things considered, you a brand new offensive line, I think, and the quarterback you did pick got hurt 2 games into the season. They did what they could to salvage it. But ultimately, you're right about the recruit. This best recruiting class ever thing is going to put a lot of pressure on him over the next 2 years.
Somebody got to put something on him because he was going to coast and everybody was going to be cool.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like maybe not for this year because that class may not impact this year as freshmen, but the following year and the year after that, I'm with you. That class is going to be under the gun to produce a championship, at the very least an SEC championship and a playoff appearance. You can't have the best class ever in the history of college football and not make the playoff 2 to 3 years after that, right? Like. You just can't. So
and win the division. Like even if you don't win the championship, you telling me you don't have the talent there to win the division.
God, the SEC West sucks, man.
It's really hard. It's really hard. But to B. Will's point, we've won it a couple of times with far less heralded talent.
Oh my God, it is brutal. Yeah, that's brutal.
So, All right, let's move along to the what did we see? We had a couple of people kind of steal my thunder asking about this in super chats or in chats in general. Mercy said, "Did y'all see the USFL game yesterday?"
I heard about it,
and
I was watching
Jazzy
basketball, so I didn't
jumps in here and said, "What did I see? I saw the Birmingham Stallions win their first ever USFL game." Well, your boy was right there because I live in the Birmingham area.
Okay.
I was watching USFL yesterday. I didn't get a chance to go to the game because I had a lot of stuff going on this weekend, but I did tune in on television. Man, they put some money behind the USFL. Like it's legitimate, like Fox Game Day production. They've got commentators, they've got drone cameras in there giving you different shots of plays that are happening. Like when I say the drone is like 5 feet behind the dude at player level during these plays, like it is, they've got some really unique things that they're doing. They have a 3-point conversion that you can get at a touchdown. So instead of taking it from the 5, you could take it from the 10 and get 3 points on that. Their overtime rules are both teams get an opportunity with 3 chances to score. Whoever scores the most points after those 3 opportunities wins. If it ends in a draw, then it is a shootout from there. And it's 2 points for every conversion that you make. They've got some unique rules, some fun things that they're bringing to the game. They're making them kick off from further back, so you're seeing less touchbacks, so you have more opportunities for returns. A lot of really great things that I saw from this. Hopefully, one of these semi-pro or whatever the correct terminology is for, it's pro sports, but it's not, NFL. One of these pro leagues that is not NFL, that's not the CFL, will have an opportunity to stay longer than 1 season, 2 seasons. I think this one has a good opportunity with the way that they're doing it promotionally and selfishly because it's here in Birmingham. Right. All the games are being played in Birmingham, right? Like they have teams from all over the country, but every game is played right here in Birmingham for all teams, right? And then the playoffs are going to be in Birmingham as well. So it's really great for the region where I'm living right now. So it's a wonderful thing to see. Very happy to see the USFL off to a good start and the local home team, Birmingham, getting the first ever win in USFL history on a game-winning drive that ended with like 30-something seconds left in the game. It was a really good game. Wasn't super sloppy. It wasn't like the best game I ever saw in the world, but it had a lot of drama all the way down to the end. And again, my home team took it. So very good to see. Hopefully, there are some former Auburn players that are on some of these USFL teams. So looking forward to seeing what some of those guys would possibly be able to do in their stint as a professional. They actually have some really cool incentives that they're doing for the USFL. Like you get a check if your team wins, right? Like you get a bonus for every win your team gets. Okay. And then every player gets a bonus for if you win the championship. So you get if you win the game, you get a bonus check. If you make it to the championship and you win, you get a bonus check, right? So there's a lot of good incentives for these players to be able to make some money doing a thing that they love to do and have another opportunity. If you don't make it to the NFL, here's another shot, right? CFL, maybe you don't want to move to Canada. All right, cool. We got you right here in the United States for a couple of months to be able to do that. So definitely looking forward to see what happens with that league as they progress throughout this year.
Yeah, lots of messages. I saw Twitter posts about the excitement of football not Auburn or Alabama in the state of Alabama. It was cool. It was cool to see Alabamians come around, come together around a team, semi-pro. So that was very cool to watch.
Yeah, definitely good to see. We got a lot of super chats that I want to jump in here and grab. I am going to try to catch up on all of these real quickly. Well, before we do that, let me just say Austin said that he has won before and we're going to be able to draw again. So we will do another drawing here. But let's jump in here to the super chat, because there was a super chat battle that was starting to happen here between our guy Justin Paulk, who jumps in and says happy Easter, fellas, with the big super chat. And then Jazzy retorts and is like, not so fast, my friend. This is for the extra content that y'all been putting out, the hype video and the QB videos. That stuff is what I always try to find on YouTube, but it's never there. That was perfect. This is what y'all jobs. This is what y'all do with jobs, and you can imagine what the full time is going to be. Yeah, I'm here for it. Absolutely. Listen, man. To be
more
clear,
time. Yeah.
We are producing an inordinate amount of content in our spare time.
Yeah.
Once we get to doing this full time, I don't think nobody's really ready for what we're going to be able to do.
It's going to be stupid,
bro. Man,
it's gonna
listen,
be crazy.
I'll tell you, the amount of time I sit in front of this computer when I'm not at work doing stuff is ridiculously stupid. And that same goes for the other guys as well too. So yes, we are working. We have more ideas than we have time to execute those ideas.
Yeah.
Certainly, but you guys are going to be really, really shocked at some of the content we have coming. There is nobody even attempting to do all the things that we're trying to do. So
yeah, especially without any like big budget backing like this. You guys are our budget backing. So like we're trying to do this stuff that we know you all want to see. So Jazzy, when you make the comment like that's the kind of stuff that's the kind of stuff I used to search for Auburn. It's like, man, where can I find this? And it's not anywhere. And I was like, you know what? I'll just make it. I
got tired of seeing all these mediocre hype videos.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm about to get back into the hype video game. That's the first one I've done since 2004 or 2005. It's the first one I've done since 2005. So I'm just dipping my toe back in, and that was like 50% of my hype video effort.
We haven't even seen Mike G at his his final form yet. Yes, as a Dragon Ball.
So once we get back in there, I think it's gonna be, you guys are gonna be really happy with the content that we're putting out.
Yeah, but
unless you ask Daryl,
yeah, then we're trash. Yeah, but if you have any anxiety over like you can't wait and you're just really anxious about what you're going to see in the future from the War Report, we have a remedy to help you calm down, and that's our guys at the Rogue Shop. Let's talk to them real quick.
This segment of the War Report is brought to you in part by RogueShop.com.
If you're in need of high-quality, all-natural herbs and extracts that contribute to a happy, healthy lifestyle, the Rogue Shop is the place for you. With a variety of products that contribute to a healthy sleep, lower stress, and a happy mood, the Rogue Shop has you covered. Visit them at DRogueShop.com and use code REPORT today. Tell them the War Report sent you.
All right, we appreciate the Rogue Shop for always supplying us with ways to keep ourselves calm as we have all of these discussions with random trolls on the internet about why they think that we are the worst content creators that ever decided they wanted to post things.
30% off select Rogue Shop items right now. So if you use code REPORT, you get 10% off. But there's some things that Richard has in his store that are 30% off right now. And I'm told it's the good stuff. So
the good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, a few more super chats here before we draw. Lawrence here says, I feel like we're going to lean on the run. Do y'all think Ashford's ability to run helps Tank and company?
I don't think it hurts it.
It doesn't. When you have to account, we know when we saw when you have a Nick Marshall and a Trey Mason, what that was able to do. And it's not because Trey Mason was the most unstoppable back we've ever had. It's because if I have to account for a guy that athletic and that fast at Nick Marshall, then it makes it harder to just pile up on the running back. So sure, but I also don't think that Harsin would ever do an offense where the quarterback is running that much. So maybe it doesn't fully, it doesn't give us the benefit that Nick Marshall gave us, but I'm certain it can't hurt.
Yeah. All right, we got a few more super chats here. Before we do that, we are going to jump back in here and pull again, since Austin said he had already won. So let's see who has the opportunity. Hashtag get your weight up to win the Weagle War Damn Eagle. Kick him in the butt, Big Blue.
Hey,
Hey,
T-shirts. Who is it? Who is it going to be? We'll do this drawing, jump back into the super chats, and it is Toby Matthew. Toby, if you are here, we need to hear you in the comment section. Let us know that you are here. You are our winner today. We'll wait around and see if you've got, if you're still here. And if not, we're going to draw again. But in the meantime, let's jump back in here to the super chats. Rick Cavanagh says, although it's not Harson's style, it might be a situation where we don't settle on our starter until game 3. They might all see the field early. There have been situations in the past that Brian Harsin has run a 2 QB system. So don't put it past him. He's also not afraid to pull a guy and go to someone else. So I do expect the first couple of games of the season for them to be auditioned still if no one has clearly separated themselves in the fall. Any thoughts on this one, guys?
Although you're right. I'm not going to say that we're not going to have settled on a starter by game 3. I would more describe it as we will not have an entrenched starter until game 3, depending on how the first 2 games go. This is something I've consistently said, and that is that if TJ Finley wins the job, he's got to look really, really good in those first 2 games to solidify his spot as the quarterback. If he goes out there and looks mediocre, and the offense is mediocre under his quarterbackship through the first 2 games, the coaching staff has to be ready to pull the plug by game 3, right? And the backups need to be ready. You're the number 2 quarterback, you need to be ready. And based on how last season went, if you're the number 3 quarterback, you need to be ready.
Yeah.
So if we had another Bama type situation this year, I could see us going to Robbie against Bama once number 2 got hurt, rather than leaving a guy out there on one leg hoping he pulls it out.
Right. And I was going to go one further. I don't think the guy wins it in 2 games. I think the 3rd game is what determines who starts going forward for the rest of the season.
Facts. Yeah. I just think you don't like Penn State. Let's say we're in it, but there's defense is playing well and there's no offensive flow. You got to be ready to pull a guy, right? Especially if you have 2 games worth of data that says it hasn't been going that great anyway,
right?
Versus inferior opponents,
right?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
For sure. Let's see. Brian Hancher says, B Will's rant is just too entertaining for me to be silent. So B Will, you just got us a $5 super chat for your epic rant.
That, thank you, Brian.
Justin Polk jumps in here with another super chat that said, B Will, please be honest with us about how you feel about Jimbo Fisher. We need to know the truth. So apparently
you've been getting too much love, man. It's hard to hold it in. Too much love. I can't have that.
Haley Tubbs says, so proud that the Birmingham Stallions went out and performed well. Gives our state something else to be proud of.
Do we have any former Auburn players on that team?
On the Birmingham team? I don't think so.
Okay.
I saw a few in the league. I don't think on the Birmingham team.
I don't think any on the Birmingham team. I have to go back and look at the rosters to see. But there definitely are some former Auburn players in the USFL. I'm not sure about any of them being on that team. They probably would have said it like 15 times during the broadcast, though. This guy played right down the road in Auburn, like 30 times or something like that. So not a super chat, but definitely good question here, or a good statement from Lawrence that we've got. I do feel like Malik Willis had done enough in his A-Day game to be the legitimate starter. That deep ball to Matthew Hill was nice. It was that play was one of the plays that actually had me excited about the prospects for Matthew Hill, who we never saw touch the field at wide receiver.
Man, this was so crazy. It was so crazy what talent did under Gus, which is, and to be fair, we're not trying to beat up on Gus. His time is over. We're just documenting history at this point, but we had a lot of good talent that helped us boost the recruiting rankings that never saw the field. Right. And that was something that, even though now we've seen what the administration, how they may have, been a negative for coaches here, Gus got the talent to get the job done on the field.
Yeah.
And ultimately, no matter what we think about how his tenure ended or we know what may have gone on during it, he did get the talent and he made the personnel decisions to get it done on the field, and he couldn't. And I hate that we didn't see all those guys and what that meant for those guys. I don't know what those guys could have been here if they had gotten a legitimate shot and gotten a chance to develop, man. I just hate it for some of those players.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely hard for me to sit here and watch top 10 talents waste away at Auburn, transfer somewhere else. And then you come to find out that it was really, they didn't evaluate those guys. They were just going after the star rating because they didn't really pan out to be much in whatever other spot they were in either.
Yeah,
Right. So
a lot of guys like that. Yeah.
there's no reason for that to continue to be the case at Auburn. Hopefully it will not be a thing for the future. I have not seen, unless anyone else has seen, Toby jump in and say he was here, which means I'm going to have to hit this button again.
And I have been looking.
All right. Well, Toby, tried to wait for you, bro. We're going to go ahead and spin it again. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments if you haven't already. We're going for number 3. We've had a winner who was here, but decided to let you all get it again. Jarvion Murphy, are you here?
Jarvion, are you here?
If you are here, you will be the recipient of this wonderful t-shirt. Maybe you're watching USFL games and it started to get good. Maybe you're watching some NBA playoffs action and you stepped away, but hopefully you still had the computer or phone on in the background and you just heard us call your name as a winner here. Jarvion, are you here? Let's get to the winnings. Another question, I just saw John Brandon jump up in here and say that, did y'all see UCF putting QR codes on their jerseys? I did see those pictures.
What? I did not.
That looks so stupid. Yeah, I don't know what. Oh my God. So the first thing I'm thinking is, so what you're gonna do is supposedly, if you're at the spring game, you're gonna have your phone out with your camera. And you're gonna be like, let me see who. I don't know. Is it gonna bring up their player page on the UCF website? Like what is the reason? Why?
Somebody's trying to get ahead of the game, trying to revolutionize whatever that is.
Is it going right to a GoFundMe to pay the player?
Has their spring game happened?
I have no idea. Maybe it's happening yesterday. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we'll see after the game. They'll be like, "Oh, this cool thing that you can do," and I don't want it to be somebody on the sideline, right? Like, I want to see, how does this make practical sense in a game situation? Which I don't think. I think it's just for their spring game that they're doing this. It's not going to happen during the season, but yeah, I don't know why it makes a lot of sense to have the QR codes on there, but they're doing it.
Going right to their Cash App. Give me money. Yeah, that was a good play.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the theory behind the thought, but hey, listen, people are trying all kinds of stuff to revolutionize what's going on. I still do not see Jarvion Murphy in these here comments. Am I going to have to hit this button a 4th time? It feels like I might. Okay, John Brandon says that it will bring up social media handles, stats, and personal merchandise for sale for the NIL. All right.
Okay.
So every player has their own personalized merchandise, or like,
well, they get to choose. Not every player has.
If you've not played a single down, you're just going to have your social media handle on there. This feels.
I don't know.
This feels dumb to me.
Yeah. So like NFTs and stuff.
I don't know. But I mean, how much is that NFT worth if you don't play? Like, this is. I mean, that's cool.
This is the spring game. This is the spring game. Like, man, you really showed out against the number 2 cornerback right there. Let me look up.
It's gonna be very interesting, man. Everybody's trying to find new ways to generate money, assuming that they're not getting paid as much, right? Like,
I mean, I guess if they're selling those as merch and somebody's like, "Oh, that's dope. Let me get this QR code for." I don't know. And who is the star athlete for UCF this season that people are supposed to be excited about?
They got a bunch of former SEC players, so maybe any one of them could pop playing in the AAC, but I don't know.
Did Big Cat declare for the draft?
He don't have a choice. He played 5.
Yeah, I'm just saying, is he going to get drafted? Do you guys think
he didn't get a COVID year?
That was his COVID year.
Okay.
That was his 5th year.
Okay, all right.
So
Yeah.
is Big Cat going to be in the NFL next season because he made the jump to UCF and showed out?
Did
I
he
don't think
show
so.
out? Did he show
I'm going
out?
to say no.
Oh, you know what? They did play their spring game. Lawrence just reminded me by putting these names up here, Kobe Hudson or Mason Plumlee, because there was a situation, I think, in the spring game where Mason Plumlee intended a pass for Kobe Hudson, and it got
Got picked off.
intercepted by some other former Auburn person.
Domio?
Yeah,
I think it
Domio.
was
That's what it
Domio.
was. Marco
Yeah.
Domio. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
Mason
I-
Plumlee, the former quarterback at Ole Miss, throwing a pass to Kobe Hudson, the former Auburn wide receiver, picked off by Marco Domio, the former Auburn defensive back.
While we're here, I would like to say prayers up for the Malzahn family. They've been going through a lot lately.
Yeah.
Christy Malzahn has been ill.
Mhm.
And the word is that she is on the right side of that now. So prayers up for her. And then Gus was in a car accident in Auburn a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. I
And
saw that,
somebody was airlifted to the hospital. There was some speculation about whether it was him or not. It was not him. But prayers up to everybody who was involved in that accident and that everything turns out okay with everything that happened there. So
Yeah. Well, definitely prayers up for that family. And prayers up for all of these people who've been gone in this chat who are not here.
Are we still pulling?
They're still in. Yeah. I
Come
haven't
on, guys.
seen-
Try to go watch basketball. Let's go. We have to give this away.
All right. Let's try to give this away one more time. See if the person is here.
That's all Lisa's name. Lisa, you there? Jeremy Eccles.
Jeremy Eccles.
I know he's here. He put in like 2-3 times. Where you at, Jeremy?
Jeremy, you hold on. Come on, Jeremy.
We got to
Hopefully
get a
stuck
shirt
around.
to somebody, man. We can't leave without actually giving the shirt away, man. So,
No, that's bad juju for us to leave a stream without giving something away. We have never had, I don't think we've never had since the beginning of last year. I think we have not had one regular live stream where we haven't given something away.
yeah, no. We are I mean, a year solid, man.
Yeah, we've been doing a year solid of giving stuff away every. There he is, Jeremy. I'm here, guys. Jeremy.
All
Hey,
right.
There you go.
listen, bro. Hit us up. Business at the War Report. That's business at the War Report to claim your prize. So, business at the War Report. We need your t-shirt size and your mailing address. Do not forget your t-shirt size. I will not follow up with you. I will just send you whatever I feel like, and it's probably not going to fit because I'm going to make sure of it. It's your punishment. You're getting an extra small.
All right, man. Well, that's it, man. We are out of here. One more time, Mike G, let the people know how they can get connected on a deeper level with what we have going on here at the War Report.
Listen, become a patron member, $5.99 a month. Help support our content. Get us doing this full time. Listen, enough of you guys sign up. I can quit my job and make hype videos, all the hype videos y'all ever wanted to see. So gave everybody a little taste. We have more great ideas in the oven. Just need a little bit more support to bake that cake and give it to all you guys. So $5.99, help support our content. Also help support the Lee County Humane Society, raising money for a good cause. Go to the About section of our YouTube channel. Hit the donate button. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them. So we appreciate you guys for doing that. If you didn't win the t-shirt, you can just go buy one at the warreport.com. Visit our merch store. Lots of fly gear there for you guys. We're on podcast, every single podcast platform there is. Check us out doing podcast exclusive content with our guy Auburn Memes, Allie Davison, and my girl Brandy Mack, who is texting me right now about everything NBA. But we got lots of great content for you guys on the War Report podcast. Check us out. Subscribe, download, leave a review, help us grow in that. Special shout out to prizepicks.com. Use code RAPPORT to get 100% match there through the NBA playoffs. There's a great avenue for you guys to have some fun and win a little money. And then also special shout out to our title sponsor, University Ace Hardware in Auburn, Alabama at 2101 East University Drive, right next to the movie theater. Please, for all your home improvement needs, Ace is the place. They are also a big supporter of the War Report, so we appreciate our guy David for consistently supporting us through football season and basketball season.
For sure, for sure. All right, so you all know what you need to do. Outside of all of that, what you can do is make sure that this video gets out to other people or any of the other videos. As a matter of fact, even if you don't share this video, go share the hype video. Make sure that gets around social media. You can see a version of that on our social media channels on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter, or you can share the YouTube version of that. But please share, hashtag Get Your Wake Up. Make sure you add us when you're doing the share so people can know the type of content that they can expect to see from the War Report. For this video in specific, before you get out of the door, I know a lot of y'all have already left, but make sure you like the video. If you're not subscribed already, I did not do the situation where I only let subscribers comment today, so you could have just been here watching and comments and all that kind of thing. Make sure you subscribe and get those numbers up. We're trying to hit 10K subscribers by the time fall gets here.
Tell a friend, subscribe.
Yeah, let people know. And how you can do that is send them our way on all of our social media. That is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are at The War Report. And on TikTok, TW Report. That's it, man. We are about to get out of here. Until the next time, we'll be back at you all on Wednesday with our War Room. But until the next time, and as always, it is War Eagle, War Report out.
War Eagle.